Welcome to another episode of AI 10X brought to you by 10 Leaves.
It's great to be here.
So, for today's deep dive, I want you to imagine something. Picture two people sitting on, like, the exact same couch.
All right. Okay, picturing it.
They're looking at the exact same product on the exact same website at the exact same time.
Right.
But, and this is the crazy part, they're seeing two completely different brands.
Entirely different, yeah.
I mean, the imagery, the tone of the copy, the value proposition, it's all completely distinct. It's tailored so specifically to the psychology of the person holding the phone that they might as well be existing in parallel universes.
It really is wild when you think about it.
It is. And that's our mission for today. We are unpacking how artificial intelligence is just, well, completely redefining the landscape of marketing.
Yeah, that's a massive shift.
It really is making this audacious promise, right?
Yeah.
Delivering the right message to the right person at exactly the right time.
Right. And with zero manual human intervention, which is the key.
Exactly. So how big of a deal is this really?
I mean, look, it is a total reconstruction of how commercial communication works. We aren't just talking about, tweaking old advertising model.
Right. Like just getting slightly better at guessing demographics or whatever.
Exactly. It's not just, let's target males aged 18 to 35 a little better. What we are looking at here is hyper-personalized advertising at a massive, unprecedented scale.
Unprecedented scale. I like that.
Because it's a fundamental shift from those generic broadcast-style campaigns.
Yeah.
Where a brand projects just a single identity out into the world.
Like a billboard or a Super Bowl commercial.
Right, exactly. We're moving away from that to deeply, deeply individualized experiences. We're moving from a world where brands speak to a demographic bucket to one where they are rendering a one-on-one reality for you.
Just for you.
Yeah, the individual. And it's based on your specific context at any given millisecond.
But before the system can, render that alternate reality for you in a fraction of a second, it has to know what to build.
It does. It needs raw material.
Right. It has to know who you are, mechanically speaking. And based on our source material, the raw inputs powering this are customer behavior, preferences, and engagement patterns.
Those are the big three, yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this, because if we think about this AI not as a piece of software, but as, say, an ultra-observant digital concierge at a high-end luxury store.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. It completely changes the perspective.
Yeah.
Because this concierge, they don't just stand at the door with a clipboard asking for your zip code.
No, they're much smarter than that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are quietly mapping how you move through the physical space.
Yeah.
They register which aisles you walk down, the specific textures you reach out and touch.
They're watching everything.
Yeah. Precisely how many seconds you linger in front of a specific display before your eyes dart away.
Yeah.
But I do have to push back a little here.
Go for it.
Because we've had targeted campaigns for years based on what we click. We all know the experience of looking at a pair of shoes online, and then those exact same shoes just stalk us across the internet.
Oh, yeah, in banner ads for the next 3 weeks.
Exactly. So what makes analyzing engagement patterns with AI fundamentally different from traditional targeting?
Well, okay, so old school retargeting is kind of like throwing a dart at a board.
Okay.
It's entirely reactive and heavily static. It relies on this really basic, deterministic if-then loop. Like, you clicked on the shoes, therefore I will display the shoe asset on the next 10 domains you visit.
It's pretty dumb, honestly.
It is. It doesn't care if you bought them already. It doesn't care if you only wear those shoes on weekends. And it certainly doesn't care if you're currently in a mindset to buy.
Right. It's just blindly following you.
Exactly. But true AI-driven marketing functions more like a heat-seeking missile that analyzes and adapts to how you move.
A heat-seeking missile. Okay.
Yeah. It's the synthesis of these things that matters. It takes behavior, which is what you do, and preferences, which is what you like, and engagement, which is how you interact.
And it puts them all together.
Right. And it turns all your unstructured data into multidimensional vector embeddings.
Okay, wait, hold on. Vector embeddings. Let's slow down and explain that, because vector embeddings take this out of the realm of simple marketing and into, like, heavy data science.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's break it down. When we talk about behavior, we're talking about overt actions.
Like clicking a link.
Exactly. What you click, what you add to a cart. That's behavior.
Okay.
Preferences are the long-term historical weights. So the color palettes you naturally gravitate toward or the price tiers you tolerate.
Stuff you've liked over the years.
Right. But engagement patterns, these are the most critical variable.
Why is that?
Because they represent the context of your cognition. An engagement pattern tells the AI the how and the when of your digital existence.
Okay, give me an example of that.
So, do you tend to open promotional emails first thing in the morning on a mobile device, but only ever actually complete a checkout late at night on a desktop?
Oh, I totally do that, actually.
See, that's an engagement pattern. Or when you watch a video, do you drop off after 3 seconds if there are no subtitles?
Yeah, or if I'm somewhere loud and I can't hear it.
Exactly. Do you scroll rapidly past text blocks but slow down for high contrast images? That is all engagement data.
So it's not just logging the click. It is logging the velocity of the scroll, the time of day, the specific UI elements I interact with,
All of it.
and it's building a mathematical representation of my habits.
Yes. And it's mapping those habits against millions of other users in real time to find hidden correlations.
Wow.
It isn't assigning you to a demographic bucket like millennial urban professional.
Yeah.
It's locating you in a vast, multidimensional space.
It's mapping my brain, basically.
Essentially, yeah. The AI understands that you, specifically, only ever buy coffee on Tuesday mornings when the weather API indicates it's raining in your city.
That is bizarrely specific, but I get it.
Right. And it knows you only ever respond to offers that feature user-generated video content rather than, polished studio text.
So it's synthesizing all of that.
Yes. The synthesis of behavior, preferences, and engagement allows the transition from a broad demographic guess to an individualized mathematical certainty.
Okay, so the AI has this massive vector embedding of my psychological profile and my current context. It knows I want the coffee, it knows it's raining, and it knows my brain responds best to a specific visual stimulus.
Exactly.
But having the data sitting in a server is one thing. Actually rendering a custom ad based on that data in the, 50 milliseconds it takes a web page to load?
About that, yeah.
That is another universe of complexity entirely. The claim in the material is that AI allows for every single customer to have a completely unique experience by dynamically adjusting messaging, creative assets, and recommendations.
Yeah, real-time generation.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. If AI is dynamically adjusting the actual creative assets and messaging for every single person, are two people even seeing the same ad anymore? I mean, how individualized are we talking? We aren't just talking about basic conditional logic here, right?
Yeah.
It can't just be a database with 1,000 pre-written headlines.
What's fascinating here is that no, two people might never see the same ad, even if they are being sold the exact same product from the exact same inventory.
Never see the same ad. That is just crazy.
It is. And you hit on the crucial technical hurdle earlier, which is latency.
Right. The 50 milliseconds.
Exactly. To generate an entirely unique canvas in the milliseconds before a page renders, we're moving way past databases of prefab assets. We are getting into the realm of real-time generative compositing and large language models operating at the edge.
Operating at the edge. Okay, walk me through the mechanics of that. What is actually happening in those 50 milliseconds to adjust the messaging, the creative, and the recommendations?
Let's use a tangible example to look at the architecture beneath it. Say a tech company is launching a new flagship smartwatch.
Okay, a smartwatch. Got it.
Now we have User A. User A is a highly active fitness enthusiast.
A gym person.
Right. Their vector profile shows they engage heavily with biometric data analysis, they watch high-intensity interval training videos, and their scroll velocity is typically very fast.
Meaning they don't linger on long text.
Exactly. Then we have User B. User B is a corporate executive whose preferences heavily weight toward productivity suites, calendar management, and they tend to read long-form, text-heavy articles on a tablet during the evening.
Two completely different psychologies.
Completely different.
But the brand needs to sell the exact same piece of hardware to both of them.
Right. So when User A triggers an ad impression on a website, the AI doesn't fetch a pre-made banner ad.
It builds it.
Yes, it queries an LLM integrated with a diffusion model. For the creative asset, it dynamically composites an image. It might place a 3D rendering of the smartwatch onto the wrist of someone scaling a wet rock face.
Oh, wow. So it literally generates the image on the fly.
On the fly.
Huh.
And it adjusts the lighting to be high contrast and gritty because that matches the visual aesthetic User A historically stops scrolling for.
That's the creative asset part. What about the messaging?
Simultaneously, the LLM generates the messaging. Knowing User A has a fast scroll velocity, it bypasses paragraphs of text and generates a punchy 5-word headline.
Just focusing on what they care about.
Exactly, focusing purely on the heart rate sensor accuracy and the altimeter.
And the recommendations.
Finally, the recommendation engine pulls from the inventory API and dynamically slots in a breathable, sweat-proof silicone band as the upsell.
And all of that computation, the image generation, the copywriting, everything happens in the blink of an eye.
It has to, because in that exact same millisecond, UserB triggers an impression on a completely different site.
The executive.
Right. The AI analyzes their profile. The diffusion model renders the exact same smartwatch, but this time it's resting on a polished mahogany desk next to an open premium laptop,
Totally different vibe.
bathed in warm, soft, ambient lighting. It's an aesthetic that signals premium productivity.
And since user B reads long-form text,
The LLM generates a longer, more sophisticated headline and a subparagraph detailing the calendar syncing capabilities, the silent meeting notifications, and the multi-day battery life.
and I'm guessing the upsell changes too.
Yep. The recommendation engine swaps the silicone band for a premium Italian leather strap.
That is wild. The product is identical. The price is identical. But the brand's identity has effectively bifurcated to perfectly mirror the internal desires of two different users.
It is repainting the canvas for every single set of eyes.
But let's ground this in reality for a second, because building a unique, dynamic experience for every single user sounds incredibly complex.
It's not easy, that's for sure.
I mean, running inference on large language models and diffusion models for 100 million simultaneous impressions requires an unbelievable amount of compute power.
The infrastructure costs are astronomical.
Right. Brands don't burn this kind of capital just to flex a cool technical magic trick. There has to be a real reason. The material points to three massive benefits: increased engagement, higher conversion rates, and long-term customer loyalty.
Yeah, those are the big three driving this adoption.
So what does this all mean for the listener? I get that a better ad gets a quick click, a conversion.
Right, the short-term win.
Yeah. But how does hyper-personalization actually generate customer loyalty?
Okay, let's break that down. The first two metrics, engagement and conversion, those are the immediate mathematical realities of reducing cognitive friction.
Cognitive friction. Tell me more about that.
When you're scrolling through a feed, your brain is under immense cognitive load. You're bombarded with sensory information. So humans have developed a highly tuned subconscious ad blocker.
Oh, like banner blindness.
Exactly. We recognize the visual signature of a generic advertisement, and our eyes just glaze over it before our conscious mind even processes the brand name.
Right, because our brains are trying to conserve energy. If I see a generic car commercial, my brain categorizes it as irrelevant noise and discards it.
Spot on. But when the AI dynamically tailors the aesthetic, the tone, and the product feature to match your exact psychological state and historical preferences,
It sneaks past the filter.
yes, it bypasses that subconscious ad blocker. It presents the brain with exactly what it is already primed to process. The friction is gone.
Because it just looks like something I'd want to see anyway.
Exactly. Because the image and text resonate immediately with your specific needs, you stop scrolling. That is the increased engagement.
And the conversion.
And because the value proposition, whether it's the altimeter for the climber or the battery life for the executive, is perfectly aligned with your immediate desires, you click. That is the higher conversion rate. It's just a highly optimized extraction of attention.
So if you're sitting at home scrolling on your phone, this AI is operating at a psychological level to bypass your natural defenses.
It is.
Okay, I understand how that drives a quick click. I understand how that gets the immediate conversion. But loyalty is an emotion.
It is.
It's a sustained relationship over time. Can a machine learning model optimizing for a click-through rate actually foster a genuine relationship?
That is the crux of why this paradigm shift is so disruptive. We have to fundamentally reevaluate what a brand relationship actually is in the digital age.
Okay, how so?
Think about traditional broadcast advertising. It's inherently antagonistic. It relies on interruption.
Like a YouTube ad you can't skip.
Exactly. It demands your attention when you're trying to do something else, and it forces you to sift through irrelevant noise to maybe, occasionally, find a product you actually need.
Right. And it's annoying.
Over time, that constant friction breeds ad fatigue, annoyance, and brand apathy.
It's the difference between like a brand acting like a carnival barker, shouting at everyone who walks by, hoping someone happens to want a hot dog.
I love that. Yes, the carnival barker. But when a brand utilizes this level of AI to analyze your vector profile perfectly and dynamically adjust its messaging to be highly relevant,
Stops yelling.
It stops being a carnival barker. It becomes a utility. Because the marketing is more personal, relevant, and effective than ever before, it respects your cognitive load. It respects your time.
So the loyalty doesn't come from the consumer thinking, wow, this brand really understands my soul.
Not at all.
The loyalty is built because the brand consistently provides actual frictionless value exactly when it's needed, rather than spamming them with irrelevant noise.
Exactly. Loyalty in the era of AI is a byproduct of seamless utility. When a brand consistently provides value through perfectly timed, highly relevant recommendations, your brain stops categorizing their communications as spam or advertising.
What does it categorize it as?
You begin to view them as a helpful service.
Interesting.
Yeah, think about it. If an outdoor apparel company only ever surfaces in your feed right before the winter season, highlighting the exact type of thermal gear you usually buy in the muted colors you prefer, using the stark, minimalist visual style you engage with most.
They aren't an advertiser anymore. They're like my personal shopper.
Exactly. That brand becomes an anticipated concierge. You return to them not because of a catchy jingle on TV, but because the experience of buying from them requires zero mental effort.
It's just easy.
So easy. The dynamic personalization translates directly into long-term customer loyalty because it transforms the fundamental nature of advertising from an unwanted interruption into a genuinely useful, predictive service.
So let's take a step back. What does this all mean for you, the listener, and for the future of commerce? We've covered a lot of technical and psychological ground today.
We really have.
Yeah, we started by looking at how AI has completely abandoned simple demographic targeting. It's moving instead toward building massive vector embeddings that map our behavior, our historical preferences, and those deeply contextual engagement patterns.
Right, the how and when of your digital life.
Exactly. And then we unpack the engineering behind the dynamic canvas, showing how diffusion models and large language models work in tandem in the span of milliseconds to composite entirely unique images and write bespoke copy for every single user.
That 50-millisecond window is where the magic happens.
It's incredible. And finally, we landed on the ultimate result, the massive boost in brand loyalty and conversion. By bypassing our natural ad blockers and reducing cognitive friction, brands are actively rewriting our emotional relationship with them. They're turning disruptive spam into a predictive utility.
It really is the ultimate realization of marketing efficiency.
No wasted impressions.
None. No irrelevant messaging, just a continuous, optimized alignment between product capability and consumer desire rendered in real time.
It is incredibly efficient. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something that pushes this incredible technology to its logical extreme.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've talked extensively today about how AI dynamically alters messaging and creative assets to perfectly match our individual psychologies, right?
Right.
The smartwatch looking rugged for the climber and sleek for the executive. But if every single person sees a completely different version of a company's visual identity, its tone of voice, and its core value proposition, tailored perfectly to their own mind.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, will there eventually be a point where a brand has no definitive public identity at all?
Wow. A fractured corporate identity where the brand is entirely subjective.
Exactly. If a massive brand looks and sounds completely different to me than it does to you, does the brand even exist in a shared cultural reality anymore? Or will we enter a world where there are simply billions of personalized brand identities, bespoke realities that exist only in the eyes of each individual consumer?
That is a wild thought. We might be watching the end of mass culture and the beginning of hyper-individualized reality.
Definitely something to keep in mind the next time you see an ad scrolling past that feels just a little too perfect, a little too tailored to exactly what you were thinking about.
Good luck out there, everyone.
That is all the time we have for today's deep dive into the AI marketing revolution. Next up, AI Companions. Thanks for joining us for another episode of AI 10X, brought to you by 10 Leaves.